This is potentially a new round.
Draft has started. Let's see what we have. So Casante ban.
Draft is underway. Game 1, ladies and gentlemen, at home. This is the second best of the second semi-final of today. After this, there will only be the final left that will be played today. So still a lot of League of Legends coming your way.
Okay, Milio first ban. I mean,
we have Big Roma on the red side.
It's usually set left for 3.
Twice in their series yesterday, so they are very confident and very.
Because you usually save it on 3 just in case they decide to ban it away. But
on this blue side now, bans coming through. Gasante, Gragas, you talked about how it is going to be a popular pick there for Big
I'm gonna
Roma.
mute that. So yeah, we have Gragas taken away again. Weird, the Gragas is taken away on blue. It means that they've got a set, like they know what they want on B1. Again, I thought it maybe would have been the Ari, but so now we're looking for. So let's see. I don't want to try and predict it too much because at the end of the day these teams have very unique styles. So let's see what they're looking to go into. Zeri, okay. I'm surprised that got through the draft, to be honest, especially considering Zeri at the moment with 20 force is so unbelievably strong. It's just so good. So this is going to be a very explosive game. This does mean that they're forced more towards the top side of the lane unless they get something like a Lulu. This is really bad by Big though. Really bad because now they open themselves up to a Lulu here. Which is a good response. Zeri Lulu into Lucian Nami is a fair response here, I think. And then they're probably just going to look to blind something that's aggressive in mid lane. Or that can roam about. Or they just look to take jungle here. Like, there's a lot of things that they can take. Like you can't really go something like Javan because they've already got Lucian, but you can... Okay, I mean, I guess Ornn with Zeri is really good because you get ornaments later on into the game. G2 showed that they liked this yesterday as well, so... one thing that we're probably going to see is them just look at scale. We are looking for a really strong mid-jungle on 4-5 though, so that's absolutely huge. Gwen is a classic response into the Ornn. It is good. It will shred later on into the game, but as long as they choose good mid jungle 2v2 here, they are really big. I mean, to be honest, if they went something like Lee Sin LeBlanc here, I don't know if they play it, but that would be really good. Like the Ari's banned away, they need to pinch jungle pool a little bit. I mean, they do ban away the Rek'Sai. That is a really big pick for Sheena. She picked it twice yesterday in 2 games. So I'm very confident on it coming in. But overall, that's going to be taken away now. Probably another jungle ban coming through there. Cassio ban, okay. So they are looking to try and kind of pinch things that will be mid. They're probably going to save R5 for mid, so you're probably going to have to blind something. Which would be fine. I mean, to be honest here, even blinding something like a Rise, going like Xin or something is super oppressive, but let's see what they have prepared for this. Obviously, they knew exactly what they wanted coming in, so let's see. We did see Ari, I think, 2 games yesterday for the side of G2 Hell, so it will be interesting to see what Tifa has planned for the exception of that being taken away. But yeah, we'll see. So we have the Poppy come in. I mean, I don't like it that much because right now they don't really have that much to jump in. Alistair, definitely not. And they don't really have that much to actually be able to jump in. So, I mean, the Poppy isn't that great. They could just go really long range here. Okay, Seraphine. Okay. Seraphine mid's definitely really interesting because there's a lot of matchups that can punish it very hard. But obviously when you have a Poppy, you're not really going to be pressuring it as much. We see the Nocturne come through. Okay, so this is just going to be to consistently get into the fights. Obviously a massive amount of damage as well. We're probably going to see more of a farming lane here. But I mean, LeBlanc is good into the Seraphine, but they need something a little bit more. I mean, they're looking to match the scaling instead. I don't really think that's the best choice, especially when you're against a Nocturne. Looking to match scaling can be a little bit rough. I mean, Poppy needs to be bought quite often this game, but Zeri Lulu is quite comfortable with allowing themselves to just scale. Top is probably going to be a bit off limits though, unless it's like a free kill, but in terms of, so what comp do I prefer? So the issue that you're going to have in this game is Seraphine doesn't really need to interact, so in I guess what the logic is that you go the cast into maybe like just scaling the lane against Seraphine. The issue that they're gonna have though is Seraphine can very easily push the wave. As soon as she's got Leandries, she can literally insta-kill the wave with a single Q. If she kind of pots, like when you have minions, you'll get 3 melees, 3 casters like this. If she pops her Q in the middle, what will end up happening is it'll just kill the entire wave, and then she's just free to roam away. So as soon as that happens, she can just get into bot lane and basically just be explosive. Nocturne is really good at kind of jumping into bot lane as well. So we're going to end up in this position now where it's going to be a super, super aggressive kind of 3v3. And overall, so one thing I don't like, I'd prefer if they didn't get rid of the draft just so that we could see it. But yeah. We'll see where it goes to from here. So let's have another look at the draft again. My Twitch is bugging. So there was oh wait. Oh, never mind. So I mean, yeah, I think the draft is a little bit favored towards big early, just because you do have that Lucian Nami that can get a lot of pressure, and if Poppy goes there as well. Nocturne, you're probably going to look to just hard farm until you get 6. So in general, I mean, I think as soon as level 6s come through, it's going to be really rough for Big to actually do too much. I mean, if Cassidy does get to late game, he does have huge carry potential, so there is still areas to win. I think Poppy needs to probably focus a little bit more. Well, this is the thing. Gwen is completely fine into the Ornn, so the fact that they've got that counter pick inside of top is really big. But that means that Poppy can just look to put a lot of pressure on bot side. But if bot do fall behind massively, she does have the opportunity that she can just go into top and look to kind of do something up there, which could be really, really good. But in general, I mean, yeah, interesting. Let's see. I mean, I think both teams here have win conditions. I don't think this is kind of very, like, it's one side for both teams or for either team. So let's see who kind of plays towards their win conditions more. Again, I'm not a massive fan of the Seraphine in mid, but if they've prepared it, then that's huge. It does kind of a similar thing as the RE in the kind of fact of it just gets a wave cleared and then rotates. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting one. But it's very much going to be on this Lucian Nami to get something done early. When you've got drafts like this, what you're looking to do is you're looking to have Lucian Nami do as much as they can bot lane, and then you transition that into other lanes, like for example a Kassadin. If Lucian Nami can get an early tower here, then Kassadin can get free scaling in a side lane, but I highly doubt that's probably going to happen, especially with Nautilus 6. So yeah, we'll see. This is it's going to be a fun one. So we're just waiting for the 3-minute kind of, the 3-minute delay, and then we'll end up jumping into games. So we're going to spend this time to just, let's have a look at, the runes. What kind of runes did they decide to go with? I don't know what accounts they're on. I didn't see. Okay. Let's see what accounts are on. As soon as I know an account name, I can look at their runes. Right. So let's see where they go to. So wait, this isn't... Is this on Tournament Realm? I guess it is. I guess it's on tournament run. Okay, that's fine. Right, so let's see what they start to do early here. They're looking to just 5-stack, but I can't really see G2 looking to invade here. They don't really have the tools to invade early, so I think this 5-stack is... It's like 5-stacking for the sake of 5-stacking, so it's really not that good, to be honest. Like, they're not going to get anything here. So let's see. They do kind of leave their bot side a little bit open, but again, they're not going to actually look to get any early vision whatsoever. They could have potentially forced a ward here, or a potential kill if they would have walked up and chilled to the Seraphine. But yeah, let's see what they decide to do. So Nocturne starting top, obviously. That haste is really, really good for clearing camps, just because it means you get your abilities up a little bit earlier, and even if you get one extra ability during your entire clear, that's actually going to give you a lot more pressure. Oh, sorry, a lot faster clear, should I say. But we're probably not going to see too much going down inside of the spot lane, just because, again, I mean, Zeri, Lulu are quite good in the skirmish early, and the Lulu is a really good response to Lucian Nami, especially considering Zeri has such a large range that she can farm from a really, really good safe position. So I'm probably going to see that come through. So, again, pretty slow game so far. This is always going to happen. There's not really much going to happen early in this game. I think this is going to be more so like the second game that G2 played yesterday. They're going to allow jungle to just kind of let Sheena farm up as much as she wants to, and then she impacts the game a little bit later in comparison to like the early kind of skirmish heavy. Okay, so Ornn already getting a huge amount of pressure on this Gwen early. Obviously, there is a big wave coming in, so Ornn needs to just farm it away. Going to probably try and freeze it. Has enough HP to just hold the wave here, considering there's this huge gap. But, yeah, you can see here Seraphine kind of having this sort of pressure inside of mid lane, just kind of dropping down abilities as much as possible. Multi-mana usage, which, you know, use mana on the minions and the enemies at the same time. Is really good. But again, Poppy going to come and try here. Does get a really good early gank on the Lulu. Oh, things are getting spicy. Lulu walking up a little bit too far there. But Poppy obviously dedicating the flash to that Hex Flash on the Poppy, which interesting inside of the jungle. Usually you don't really want Hex Flash in the jungle as much because you play around your flash timer more so. But we'll see. We'll see how she uses it. A lot of runes like that are very creative. One thing I often find with Inspiration is it's a very creative tree. You can, again, manipulate certain kind of mechanics in the game in order to get an advantage through that. But, again, the fact that there is an early kill for the side of Big is very, very good. So we will see what they decide to go with. Again, this Nocturne doesn't really get a chance to excel yet till he manages to get level 6, and then as soon as he has his ultimate available, then, you know, like, you can pop it and you kind of break fundamentals. So one of the things that makes Nocturne so good is that a lot of the times when it comes to fundamentals of the game, there's ways to ward against it, there's ways to do things, but with Nocturne, you kind of divert the ability to kind of do that, which is always big. Ha, get it? Because they're called big. Haha. Just kidding. So Nocturne looking to full clear here now. If Sheena does manage to get something inside of bot lane, maybe from this full clear, then she will manage to get her level 6 a little bit earlier. But in general, really what you're looking for is to just get level 6. She will get level 6 off her blue Gromp early in top side of the map, which will then lead into another full clear into bot. I can't see her using ult anywhere else, to be honest. I mean, all you really want to do is get Kaltis ahead on this Zeri. As soon as Zeri gets to her Trinity Force and Rune and Spike, she's going to be incredibly strong. She's going to be able to do a large amount of damage at that point, so we're just kind of waiting until she gets there, to be honest, and then as soon as she does, it's really, really big. Nocturne just comes to help push Wave out. That's completely fine, because again, they can look to potentially get control of the Baron Pit, and Nocturne getting a little bit more of that XP in bot lane is also very, very big too. Kaltis manages to get that ward, and they are looking for a dragon, considering, again, mid lane has Prior. So this is kind of one of the ways you play into the things that scale super hard, things like the Kassadin, things like the Vladimir, things like the Veigar. You look to take things that can wave clear quite consistently. You force them in, get that Prio, and then rotate either into side lanes or objectives. So getting a nice early dragon here is a really, really big advantage for the side of G2, especially considering they have that really hard scaling factor as well. You do have that kind of ticking time bomb of Kassadin will be able to do quite a lot later on into the game, but it's not as... A lot of people often go, oh, Kassadin and Kayle, they've just got 16, they're completely going to take over the game over. Like, it's not quite how it works. You still have tools to deal with it. Kassadin's still going to get CC'd like crazy by a Seraphine Ornn. They're still going to be able to kind of pull that trigger massively. Lulu's still going to peel. So it's like you can't just completely ignore fundamentals of the game, but they do just get a massive power spike. It's the same situation as when you get like a Divine Sunder on Wukong or Gore Drinker on Lee Sin. Like, when you get those big power kind of first items, it's kind of similar power spikes, except it just comes later into the game and there's a large amount of mobility that stops it. One thing I would like to see here is I would like to see them just reset. So it's unfortunate that they're deciding to just push this in. They have an okay reset timer because the wave is also slow pushing, so they can mimic that reset timer as well. They can reset, they can spend their gold, and then they can come back into lane with that huge chunk of gold spent and look to push it. But what they're looking to do instead is just get this wave crushed on the tower. Luckily, the Poppy isn't anywhere near bot lanes, so there's no way of punishing them for it. I don't think they actually spotted the Poppy, though. So it's a little bit risky to actually go for that push. And now we're in the situation where Lucian has reset, and they haven't. So if they pull this wave up, ooh, unlucky. So what they should have looked to do is actually maybe just pull this wave up, hold it, get a big slow push, and then call Poppy down to come and dive. Which is what they could have done, but instead they're just going to let it crash, get this second wave crashed. It's not cannon, so it's not like they're going to lose a significant amount from it, so it's not too bad. Lucian is very close to finishing his colo, like 24 left, and that's going to be 180 gold advantage, but obviously now he is going to get this tower plate also. Okay though, again, so this kind of playstyle of the whole point that you take this Seraphine, again, pushed mid out, now going into Herald, so they're just looking to secure as many kind of early game objectives, which is huge, but we actually get a return kill in bot lane. That's kind of huge. Kassadin does get something on it though, which again, unfortunate that he managed to get that roam timer, but if they can get something off Herald, again, nice kill here. They're playing a lot more aggressive than what they did yesterday, so that's really, really big. Stridebreaker gonna come through eventually on the Nocturne, probably Stridebreaker and a Black Cleaver again, just amplify that Zeri's damage as much as possible. We do have the boots come through on Zeri also now too, so it's gonna be a lot harder to land those Nami bubbles. Nami's actually opting to just go straight for Mythic, by the way, which could actually be really, really huge here. Obviously, Lulu has opted into Lucidity. It's not too bad because as Lulu, especially when your abilities have like multiple usages, you don't really want to focus too hard on your Mythic as much. But again, Mythic coming in for Nami in this game, probably going to be a mandate. It does a large amount of pressure, but again, really good rotation from Sheena here to just come and make sure that she's shadowing. I don't think they had any vision of the Poppy, but this is the thing. Kaltis is free to walk up now, and maybe they jump on the Lucian in a second. Nami's ult is down. This is a really good potential for them to turn. Oh, sorry, Nocturne's ultimate is down, actually. Use it on top. But again, really good counter gank here. TP comes in from the Gwen. Oh, Kaltis being a little bit greedy here. Ooh, okay. Okay, I can feel the tension. I can feel it. like in that situation, you've already got a successful counter gank. All you want to do is accept that the Gwen's TP has come down and then just back away, and then just allow Ornn to crash a massive wave in top, get plates. Again, though, Trez really, really out of position, and Tifa actually manages to finish up that kill. Oh, we're going with the Soul Shoes on the Seraphine as well, so really looking to do as much damage as possible. One thing that people don't get about Seraphine is she is very much a mage. She can do significant amounts of damage. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where we go to. Kaltis just coming and soaking this wave inside of mid lane. Trinity Force coming through on the Nocturne, actually. Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to have double Trinity users. Trinity is incredibly broken at the moment. If you can use it, you probably should. Things like in bot lane, you can take on things like Lucian, Kai'Sa, Zeri, Ezreal. Well, Ezreal is kind of rough, but certain situations you still can. Again, Nocturne has got it. So the reason why Trinity Force is so good is the stats are kind of comparable to Kraken Slayer from last season, but Kraken Slayer was just better, but now it goes up. But one of the things that you can do with this is obviously Trinity increases your base AD, and then Sterak's scales off your base AD as well. So what you can also do is you access Sterak's later on, which when you've got somebody like Kassadin, which even though he can do quite consistent damage at 16, he's still going to play around bursts of damage. So what you end up doing there is the Sterak's shield popping is actually going to give a lot of effective HP, which is going to potentially save them from the Kassadin damage later on into the game. We do see Poppy coming up and kind of abusing some vision here to potentially look to jump on bot lane though, but they do have a control ward in this bush. They unfortunately do reset the lane here though. I think that this is a bit of a mistake. They should have just let the wave come in a little bit, but again, another skirmish in bot. This is League of Legends. At the moment, the game is very, very heavily based around bot lane due to I mean, it was always anyway due to tank items being so strong, but now we're in a situation as well where the ADC item changes now allow ADC to do mixed damage as well. So again, just scales super, super hard. We also have things like Ardence and Knight's Vow and stuff like that have had massive gold and decreases also. So I wonder what Lulu's itemization is going to be, because Ardent would benefit both the Nocturne and the Zeri to some degree, just for that extra, like a huge amount of damage. And Nocturne really likes the attack speed that he'll get out of it, especially if he manages to get a black shield, not a black shield, if he manages to get his W off, that'll be really, really handy too. So again, that we're just letting them push this wave in. Poppy is still just sat shadowing bot lane. Nocturne's gone to just clear everything away. So this is actually really good play from the side of G2, just letting this wave come in and then farming it safely. They did also, so it's like a fake recall as well, right? So they sit there waiting for them to push the wave, and then they just farm it safely. But they want to just probably just reset here, spend whatever gold they have, and then wait for Nocturne to come path back into bot lane. There's another Herald coming up, and Zoe does have pressure, so maybe they will just look to rush it in a moment. But again, this Ornn is doing work, considering this is a quite rough matchup. The difficult thing for Ornn as well is, so Lysia has decided that she wants to go for Force of Nature. It is good because you have obviously Kassadin, you have Poppy, you have Gwen. The issue is as well, you have Mandate coming through on Nami, which is a big AP buff item, and it also means that Lucian's damage overall is extremely split. So even though Lucian does a massive amount of auto attack damage, having a lot of magic resist is incredibly valuable. It's super, super good. So we'll see what they go with here. Nocturne just finishing full clear, again around this point, and Kassadin solo bot, but I like Seraphine and Nocturne can kill Lucian Nami in mid lane, especially with Nocturne being on Trinity Spike. So we'll see what they decide to go with. I think Nocturne's going to get a bit of an invade here instead. Gives over the Herald over to the side of big, but it's no big issue. Get it? Because they're big? Guys, this way you all laugh. Right, so again, Zeri and Lulu are just allowed to farm quite safely here bot though, but Nocturne does actually get shut down to the Kassadin, so that is rough indeed. Now Vixen obviously previously playing in the mixed gender leagues. I coached Vixen in UKLC many years ago. So now, again, Cassidy getting a bit of an early lead is rough, but it's not the end of the game. It does accelerate him a little bit further, especially considering that was a solo kill on Nocturne as well. But I mean, Nocturne was lower level, so he doesn't get that enhanced XP from it, which is good. But Tifa just manages to instantly clear those waves. Went with the Roa. Okay, I mean, I think I would have probably preferred a Leandries, just because as Seraphine in this game, you're going to be doing damage from a much further distance. But I guess Roa and Seraph's combo is very, very strong. Stopwatch in the runes, though, and a gank on top, but really not too good considering the Gwen has tools to get away, and we have a TP coming in from Vixen. This is really, really huge for the side of Big. We maybe get a return kill though. Okay, Gwen does die, and Ornn gets a... Okay, this is a really good rotation from the Lulu to come up. Unfortunately, doesn't manage to get anything extra from it, but does kind of deter Vixen from being able to follow it up. Gwen did kind of grief a little bit there by continuing to keep running it, but we do have level 11 come out from Cassin, which is a huge power spike for him, which is really good. Nocturne deciding to use ult top lane there, though, is a little bit rough, especially considering you want to funnel as much gold into Kaltis as you can. She's going to be the main carry in this kind of game, so you don't really want to be using Nocturne ult elsewhere unless it's a guaranteed kill. And if it's a guaranteed kill, then great, but unless it is, it's really, really rough to use it elsewhere, so we're looking to go for another dragon. This is the dragon. Unfortunately, it is okay. Really big ult coming through from the Nami. Just make sure to split the team as much as possible. But now Nami's ult is down and they can look to go. Seraphine has ult available. This is huge because Seraphine is on this first. If she uses this ult in a really good way, one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want Seraphine on the objective first. There we go. Unfortunately, Lucian does cleanse and a huge ult from the Poppy, which will kind of break up the front to back team fight. Nocturne ultimate comes in instantly, goes on the dragon though, manages to get it. That's actually huge. Even though he does die to the Baron, I mean that's still to the dragon. Sorry, that's still huge because now they force Soul Point, which even though Chemtech is a little bit weaker in terms of overall souls, it's still going to give them a massive amount of gold. And even though they are, about maybe about 2,000 gold behind at the minute. Each dragon gives roughly, I think it's about 1,200 gold. So in theory, G2 with these 3 dragons are about 3.6k higher than they are at the moment. So the game's actually a little bit in favor of G2, which considering you have this huge scaling option of the Zeri coming online, is definitely very scary. Obviously, on the flip side though, you do have Big, who have the Kassadin, which is also going to be a very, very scary threat. But I do feel like G2 have the tools with the Seraphine, double enchanter combo for Zeri, and the Ornn to kind of peel away as well. I do think they have the ability to potentially deal with the Castin later on into the game. But there's no argument that he's definitely very, very strong at this point. Honestly, the game can go to either team. I should stop shaking my leg, because it shakes my whole camera, but it's fine. So, again, Nocturne here. So you see this combo that I was saying about, where Nocturne's sitting on his Phage right now, which Phage is a little bit rough to get as a jungler because you don't benefit as much from what it provides as you would if you were, say, in a lane consistently fighting. But again, that kind of base AD kind of amplifier that Sterak Trinity has, that kind of attunement that they provide, is going to be extremely powerful, especially for a little bit later in the game when Nocturne wants to be jumping in and being as much of a disruptor as he can. Obviously, going something like Trinity Force, he is pretty squishy, but it doesn't matter too much. So they do manage to secure the crab over for the side of G2, which is fairly big because that stops them rushing Baron. At the moment, Baron is extremely weak in general in terms of the overall state of the game. So what ends up happening is when you have these champions that do a massive amount of mixed damage, it can be really dangerous. Lucian does have his Gale Force now, which Gale Force extremely overtuned at the moment. 400% crit scaling is disgusting. So it just means that throughout the game, you just get stronger and stronger. So we do have double Trinity Force coming in. Zeri is on a power spike now as well. Gonna go into the Runans next, just because again it's gonna provide massive amounts of value, and obviously Zeri's Q is really really long range, and applies a kind of static effect when she uses her ultimate. So again, this is really really close so far. What I want to see soon is I want to see some group fights from the side of G2. They need to start using these power spikes that they've obtained to stop the Kassadin from free scaling. At the moment, he's just sat in a side lane, which if you're a Kassadin in a side lane with a Seraphine, you're really, really happy because she doesn't really have the ability to kill you. Now, one of the big things that you do have with Seraphine, though, is you always want to be on the objectives first. So what G2 needs to start doing is getting control of this mid wave and then just looking to rotate into this Baron just to kind of dance around vision and get kind of a really really easy or a really good lead. If they can manage to do that, or just like a vision lead, I mean, if they can do that, then Seraphine being on objectives first means that it's very very hard if you are the team of Big to walk up. The one thing that is scary from the side of Big though is they do have this Poppy, which does have the ability to just ult them away, which again very very rough to play in if you're the side of G2. But again there is this gold lead coming through. We do have Dragon in 40 seconds. Wait, hold on, I thought it was Kentek Soul. Unless this is, I guess this is out of order. Let's have a look. I'll wait until I see map changes. As soon as they show some jungle, I'll have a look. Obviously, Gwen does kind of counter a lot of the long-range ADCs since you can't damage her inside of her W, but it won't really matter too much, especially when you've got the Nocturne to just jump on her and do a massive amount. I'm trying to figure out what dragon it is. Yeah, it is Chemsol. What? Okay, this is wrong. It's fine. Like, no worries. I thought it was just going crazy for a second there. Obviously, I mean, I think it's a bit of an issue for G2 being in topside right here. I mean, I get that they want to try and get pressure on that top side of the map as well, especially considering Baron is up. But this is their sole point available, and one thing that you want to be doing when you are kind of in this position where you've so heavily prioritized dragons early at the expense of dying is you want to be making sure that you are kind of delaying getting that spike. Now, the one reason why I think they might have opted into this and the logic that I can see behind it is that Big have 4 dragons to go until they get Soul. So that's 20 minutes minimum of scaling time that you get on the Zeri before you have to look to contest an Elder. Whereas if G2 were to prioritize that dragon and instantly get that Soul there, then the Elder is going to be spawning in 5 minutes time from there, which... Again, they do have a Lucian Nami, which is very, very oppressive, especially on these, well, it'll be like a 3-item spike at that point of the game. So I think that's probably the logic that they decided to go with, but we're looking to just rush a Baron here. Now, this is a little bit risky considering Gwen does have TP, and Kassadin has TP too. No wards behind, so they can't actually jump behind, but they get that control ward down. I think they're looking to start a fight now. Again, you have this Ornn and Seraphine combo, so if you can force them to walk into the objective, then you can quite easily get a really big combo, and it's like super, super oppressive. But let's see what they want to go with. Let's see. So again, G2 very, very heavily opting into this hard scaling Zeri kind of meta, which again, it's completely fine. Obviously, Zeri does have these ornaments coming through as well now, so Trinity Force is giving even more value, and that's kind of one of the issues that Big is going to be facing later on into the game. Ornaments are incredibly valuable, like 1,000 gold per ornament. Like, we've already got 3 dragons from the side, 2 dragon advantage, so about 2,400 gold in stat, which is pushing them to about 41k in total, but then you've got the ornaments, which is giving another 1k, so the gold might be an advantage for Big right now, but it's actually pretty much dead even when we take into consideration the dragons and ornaments that are currently down on the map. Actually, Ornn has just got a second ornament upgraded, his Radiant Virtue. Now, support items give massive amounts of value from Ornn. It's usually where you want to prioritize. So what I'm probably going to see next is the Lulu's Shurelya's is probably going to get upgraded, just because support items give so much from Ornn. It's crazy, especially with base mana regen being so incredibly valuable now. It's really, really important. So again, the base mana regen actually doubles on the ornament upgrade to Lulu, and it gets plus 30 AP, which is going to mean Lulu's shields are going to be bigger. I looked away for 2 seconds and Tifa died. So unfortunately, this Cassidy is really, really big, and he can just completely hop over a wall. So kind of risky to fully engage on him of all people, but this is kind of favourable as well if they are running into the Zeri. Fortunately, they are going to start this Baron here since Tifa is dead. Does have TP though, so if we can wait about 20 seconds, just poke them out. Okay, they're looking for the all-in. They do have Baron debuff on them slightly, and Kaltis is a little bit kind of ostracized in this position. Okay, Lulu actually manages to get out somewhat. Shield comes down. Okay, not too bad, but I mean, unfortunately, they don't have Tifa up. TP is about to come through though. Could TP to this control ward. This is actually a really good fight. If this ult comes down from Tifa now and it's really big, then this could be huge. Kaltis is just free hitting in the back, and a big shutdown from the Kassadin. Now this just turns into G2's Baron, to be honest. Like, really, really long extended fight. Oh, I guess they're just not going to opt to go into it. Nami just walks up again, and they're just going to look to claim the free kills. Flash comes out, though. Okay, a big jump from the Nocturne on the Lucian. Unfortunately, he does manage to get away and uses Gale Force, but Kaltis is doing so much damage in the backline here. This is the thing with these picks. Like, you have to be jumping on Kaltis. If they can't lock her down, then she's just going to go absolutely nuts. So, in terms of overall lockdown potential, they don't really have that much. Kaltis is kind of... It's up to her to not die, because the only real kind of CC that they have to lock her down is if they manage to get a Nami ult, which, again, that's a really high cooldown ability, or if they manage to get Poppy E into the wall. But besides that, there's not really many tools for them to shut her down. She does have her runes now, going into the Titanic Hydra, just because then that applies on Qs as well, just as a massive amount of splash damage. You also use the HP from the Trinity Force quite effectively when you do that also. And then you can opt into things like the Sterax later that gives HP, that also amplifies Titanic's damage also. So I'd like to see that come through for the items overall. They are going for the Soul Point. They do have Tifa on it first, so we do have Seraphine Ultimate available. Poppy's ult is used to just get Lulu out, which is pretty big, but we get a huge Seraphine Ultimate come out. Absolutely massive. Zeri's just going to kill everyone. So this is why Seraphine is so good, because you end up in these situations where if you're on the objective first, it's really hard to do much. Gwen's ultimate has come through now, so it's just going to be a case of slowly just winning out the game now. Like, there's not really much that Big can do in terms of this game state now, unless Kassadin really 1v9s, it's just kind of doomed, especially with the soul coming through. That additional damage that they do get from that is really huge, and also Catgirl Trez has been forced out too, so then just go for the Baron here. A little bit risky going for Baron while mid tower is still up, but it's not too bad. Everybody's dead. So again, that's probably game. I think Big had some really, really good showings in this game, though. I think they did well to kind of hold the game together as long as possible. But I do think they're kind of playing around, kind of walking into objectives is absolute mental when you're playing against an Ornn and Seraphine. So again, this combo really, really good. Also allows you to have double enchanter. The thing is, I think they had to punish Seraphine more. This is kind of the issue that you have when you go Kassadin to kind of counter Seraphine in mid. It is a soft counter, but you end up in the kind of situation where you don't have the potential to blow her up. I'd much prefer to see things like the Tristana or even an Akali or an assassin in mid lane, even things like the Zed that you can kind of jump on her very easily. The reason why Zed can be really good is because the only way Seraphine can kind of stop Zed is ulting behind her, which then means the ultimate is completely wasted, so you don't really want to look for that too much. But again, I mean, Kassadin is still big. I know I'm writing this game off already, but I just feel like the side of Big just don't have the tools to deal with the comp that the G2 have anymore. Like, their windows of opportunity have come and gone. The Gwen is doing a lot of work, but again, it doesn't really matter too much, especially when you've got all these shields. And again, Kaltis just going absolute nuts. It's the Kaltis show, I guess. Like, such a I mean, a really good player. Obviously, favourites to come in a large amount due to Kaltis being so good at the game. I mean, even years ago, people have known that Kaltis has been somebody to watch out for. Even when I was in Division 1 Denmark, we were actually knocked out of playoffs by Kaltis. So the thing is, she does really like these champions that scale a little bit. She used to very much like the Ezreal, but champ pool is also very big. So there's no real set. This is what she has to play. Like, which is always really good when you've got an ADC, especially when you've got the unique ADCs. A lot of ADC players that are in high elo, you'll find that they can play the Jinx, they can play the Sivir, they can play the Tristana, they can play the Lucian, stuff like this, but often the two ADCs that you will... three ADCs they won't be able to play is the Zeri, Aphelios, and the Ezreal, and that's because most ADCs are very auto-attack based. You want to, like, the fight, and if you know how to space and you know how to auto, you can play most ADCs. But when it comes to things like the Zeri, Ezreal, and the Aphelios, they're very unique. Kind of the same as stuff like Samira as well. So usually the only people you'll see really playing them properly is the one tricks, but like, you expect like the pros to be able to play them as well, which again, really good. If you are somebody that's kind of looking to try and one day get into LEC, which I think for these players that is the goal all round, you end up in a position where if you can't play these ADCs in a competitive environment, now this doesn't mean you have to be playing them in solo queue. Obviously solo queue is where you're going to practice these, but overall, if you don't have the ability to play them, then you're just going to hinder the team quite massively, especially if you're not willing to play them as well. Like in lower divisions and lower ranks, Div 1, 2, 3, like you can get away with not playing them quite easily, but it becomes really rough for your team, especially if you have to start giving away draft resources just so you don't end up playing with them. So again, at this point, the main kind of win condition the Big have left potentially is the Kassadin and the Gwen. If they do quite a lot, it could be good, but we do have this ultimate coming through Nocturne and Ornn. The reason why this is so good as well is because Nocturne, okay, absolutely amazing Seraphine ultimate coming through there from Tifa. And yeah, that will just be game. Amazing catch there. Due to the fact that this gap is so small, makes it really good for those really big Seraphine ultimates, and that will be game. So again, the win conditions that Big would have had left is the Kassadin and Gwen doing work. But again, when you have so much magic resist coming through for the side of G2, it's just a little bit hard to do anything with. So again, really clean game from the side of G2. Really good. So let's take a little bit of a look into that game.